Hey.
Hey everyone, here's me and Jasper. We're here from International Academy of Universal Self Mastery. You just saw me, and here I am again with another one of our amazing faculty members. And I'd like to introduce you to Monique Verpoort. Am I pronouncing your last name right?
It's like fur,
Ver.
Verport.
Verpoort. I like
Yeah.
to get everyone's name right because mine's always so difficult for people. And so I try to make a point of making sure I say people's names right. So,
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
so Monique,
Yes.
Monique, tell me a little bit. Actually, I want to start talking about something today. Before we get into all of that, I want to bring up, when we want to bring things into our lives, like I'm working really hard, we're all working really hard, bringing IAUSM into the world, especially we're really going to get her out there in 2021. And the one thing that I keep focusing on is the students, right? It's not about, oh, we're going to make something great for us. It's more about we're going to create something more for them to help humanity, to help the world, to help the students and the people who want to grow and expand. And I think, and I want to ask your opinion on this. So I was, doing some reading about Jose Silva. I don't know if you know who he is, but Jose Silva, like amazing.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he talks about in manifesting and making something happen is, don't be so focused on yourself, right? It's, don't just be focused on how this is going to help me, but how is this going to help the people around me? How is this going to help humanity, right? What do you think about that?
Oh my God. It's all about that. It's all about that. We all have something to share. We all have our gifts. We all come here with a purpose. Sometimes it can take some of us decades to really figure it all out. But,
Yeah.
it's the bottom line is that we come here and we are meant to interact with people, to be in community with people, to share our knowledge, but also our hurts, and be able to be good listeners as well. And we don't come into this world just for ourselves, because that's not the point. And why do we go through struggles and things? Well, we learn, and I think the greatest satisfaction to me anyway is being able to share what I've learned with other people and say, you know what, if I can help you move one little iota on your own path, your own journey, then man, that's a beautiful thing. So
it is, right?
Yeah.
I have to say, like, before I started my own journey, my own, healing journey, I was in the throes of my dysfunction and darkness, lots of darkness. And I remember everything was about me. Like, I thought I was being generous and helping other people, but I was always like, why is this happening to me? Why this? Why always me? Why me? And I was there. And I think a lot of people are there. Like, I say that and people probably go, they might laugh or whatever and think that but a lot of us are like that.
Yeah.
We don't understand it till we step away from that. But a lot of us are like that.
No, for sure. And I think, part of it too, we're so complicated, right? There's so many layers to us. And something can go well in one area of our lives that we feel pretty good about, but then there's these other areas we don't feel so secure or good about. And, I know in my case, it's been like a picking away, trying to go deep to find out, what's getting in the way of this, like this joyous part of me that wants to come out, but I'm having such a hard time getting there. So it's, I think when we are so centered, I kind of call it navel gazing, where you're really looking inward to figure it out. And sometimes we have to spend a lot of time there before we can actually say, okay, you know what? I've done what I can. Now I need to get out of myself, and I need to be able to really bring an expansive self to outwards, right? And I think, I know for me, I mean, some people arrive there sooner as opposed to later. It took me a really long time to get there, and I'm still trying to get there. But I'm now out the other end, more or less, and I'm going, wow, like the excitement to really share this, the struggles, and what I've learned from it and gleaned from it is I'm excited about this part of my life to be able to do that, and the
It is
timing.
good. And I think it does take a certain amount of maturity.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe, I mean, I get really excited when a client comes in and like I just started work with someone who's like 24. And I get excited about that because I'm like, oh my God, I can help her now. And she's got the whole life ahead of her, right? Of like all this wonderfulness that she can just step away from all of her triggers and stuff like early on.
Right.
But, most of us, it's like, I didn't start till I was 40 something. And then I remember thinking, oh, why didn't I do this sooner? Like, why did I wait so long? Now I need to live till I'm 150. So it's just like,
so it's worth it.
So that's kind of, I am super excited for the students. I am super excited for the students. Yeah. And you said something earlier about, this part of your life might be okay, but then there's these other parts of your life that may not be okay. And all the different layers that we are. And that, is the gold that everybody needs to understand, because, really getting well in your life, like your serious well-being and finding fulfillment, I think it's easy to find success. It's not so easy to find fulfillment. People kind of think the two go hand in hand, but they don't really. Like, you can be successful and not be happy still.
Well, and it's interesting because I totally agree with that. But I think for me, really, I equate success with fulfillment and happiness and being where
I think you can have
so.
fulfillment and be successful, but you can't. No, how you can be fulfilled, and that is your success.
That's right.
You can have success and not be fulfilled. It's not like a yin and yang. Like, they don't necessarily go together, right?
Absolutely.
And they don't go both ways. So it's an interesting concept. So people measure their success by money.
Yeah.
It's weird how we measure our success, right? So with me, I kind of measure my success with how many people can I help? Right? How many people can I help? And how much can we put out into the world to change, our negative conditioning?
Yeah.
But looking at it as a holistic, and when people think holistic, I think a lot of them, they think like woo-woo. And it's not that. Holistic means mentally, physically, and energetically. Let's not even use the word spiritually. Let's say use the word energetically, right? Yeah, energetically, emotionally, right? All these different layers. And someone said something to me once that never, ever has left me. And they said, when you only work on one of those parts, like if you only go to a psychiatrist, but you don't work on the other parts of it, it's only like putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think, in some of our mainstream, so my background is social work. And so, our sort of therapies and theories address often the cognitive and more recently, the somatics of the body, bringing that in, thank goodness, because when we just focus on the cognitive piece, we are missing a lot. And, and I think for me, the day that more mainstream type therapies can integrate more of the energetic pieces of people, which is really linked to their soul, and start helping them with that piece, I think there's a huge portion that is being overlooked. And
it is huge. I work a lot with muscle testing. Applied kinesiology.
I love muscle testing.
It's amazing, right? So and the reason why I bring this up is because I haven't been to the doctor in years. I kind of not that I'm a self doctor, but I just, I listen to my body, like I listen to what it needs. So I remember one day I had to go get a prescription for something, and I went and I got the prescription and I put it in my hand and I muscle tested it right in the doctor's office. And he had left to go do something and was coming right back. And so I muscle tested it. When he came back in, I gave it back to him and I was like, you got to give me something else. I can't take this. Right. And he said, what do you mean? And I was like, it's not for me. I'm not saying don't give me anything. I'm saying that's not going to work for me. And his immediate response was like, how do you know that? And I said, because I did applied kinesiology on it. I muscle tested it. And then he took it. He knew exactly what I was talking about.
Okay.
Right.
Interesting.
So I, and I've had a couple of clients do it with their naturopaths, and not just their naturopaths, but their regular medical doctors as well. And they know they just don't use it because they're not supposed to use it. They're not allowed to use it. There's certain rules, I guess, that govern them. So they're not allowed to use it, but he knew full on what I was talking about, and then had to write me something else. And he said, try this. Right.
That's encouraging.
So interesting that they're aware.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And some are more aware than others. There's some that are still very far from that. But it's encouraging when you hear stories like that. I was just at the health food store earlier on, and I had to buy some supplements. So I don't buy supplements now without muscle testing right there before I buy them. Is it the right? Because we could have the vitamin D3 could be in principle be good, but one brand can have a different property than another one. So, and also dosage, right? You want to get the right dosage.
You have to check dosage. You have to check, is this the right brand for me? Do I actually need vitamin D? Because, for some people, vitamin D is a great thing, but it might be good for me, but not for you. You don't need it. You have plenty, right? But you need something else. And we're not we're not robots off a conveyor belt where we all need the exact same thing. Our biologies are so different. And I guess what I'm trying to come around to is why IAUSM is amazing is that, we're bringing in teachers from all different kinds of modalities, methodologies. We even have a couple of medical doctors and that are coming in to bring in courses and content and information where now a student can come in and go, okay, I'm going to learn this and I'm going to learn this. And it's an interactive place. And they might need something with their anxiety. They're having issues sleeping. They also have always wanted to read tarot cards, and they want to learn EFT, right? Because that's what speaks to them.
Right. One-stop shop.
Yes. Right. And so, and it's interactive. So what drew you to IAUSM? When I invited you in, we didn't actually know each other. So, what drew you to IAUSM?
Right. Well, first of all, it was Lisa Berry who connected with me and talked to me about IAUSM. And from the very second she was describing it, I thought, oh my God, this is incredible. I love this. There was no hesitancy whatsoever. And I think the reason for that was, first of all, the vision that IAUSM stood for and stands for. And the, that ability, once again, to share, put out there, let people know that there are these alternatives, these options that maybe they don't know about, or they could know a little bit about it. But, it's like anything, sometimes you need to hear something 3 times or more before you start to think, oh, you know what, there's something that here, I want to check it out. So, so the opportunity to be part of something magnificent like this with so many faculty that were wanting the same thing, so holding the same vision for the students, and the reach. I think just being able to really reach as many students as possible and potentially change and empower. It's all about empowerment and having a place for people to come together and be part of something bigger than themselves, especially in this time of COVID. We need this so much more than we've ever needed it before. So just everything just made so much sense to me. And I thought, you know what, I want to contribute. This is the vehicle in which to do it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And do you have me on somewhere there? I hear a lot of feedback with me today. I think it might be my mic. But the interesting thing is also, I think that it's different because when I did some research, this sort of showed up. Those people who have been following me on this know that this showed up in a meditation and how to do IAUSM. I had no idea that I was going to be doing this. And if you had asked me 7 months ago, Ayse, you going to do this? I'm like, because it's been a crazy 7 months, insane. But I think the really interesting thing about IAUSM is that when I did some research about online courses, I didn't know so much. I knew how to put up an online course clearly, but it was just, I didn't know that much about it. And it was that last year, $165 million was spent on people buying online courses, which I think is amazing. but only 9% of those people finish their courses. So I sat there and I was like, why? And I think it was like motivation, accountability, right? And just somebody helping them to take action on what they've learned. Because even if I learn this, I probably still have some barriers and blockages that's going to stop me from doing it, right? So if I go learn some course on prosperity, wealth and prosperity and stuff, if I have lack issues, issues of feeling lack or unworthiness or whatever, it's going to stop me from being able to use the information that I just got. Right. So with IAUSM, we added a whole community of component to it. So it wasn't just about bringing in, all these wonderful courses, but also bringing in a community where people could speak to each other. Right. And in courses, the students could speak to each other and they could speak to the teacher. And there was this interaction. And now there's someone there to help them take action. And if they are having barriers and blocks in other ways, if the teacher can't help them, then one of the other faculty can. And, it's just a place where we're going to be working together as a team rather than separately all trying to have a course available for students. Like it was just, I thought it needed to be more than that.
Mm-hmm. It's like that spider web imagery, right? Where we're holding the student and reaching out in multiple ways to each other to support the student. So that student doesn't fall through the gaps, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then I figured we need another piece, which I'm just getting into like for 2021, because we're just doing an overhaul of the site right now. This weekend it'll be down because we're doing a big overhaul on it. But it was like, how do we increase the students' experience? Because it's different. I just assumed, the students would come in and they're going to get it right away and stuff. And they're not, right? So it's because it's so different than anything that they've experienced. So we're actually going to start putting on some events, right? For student orientation and stuff like, so it's going to be really cool. And now you've got some wonderful courses coming up and I wanted you to talk about those, Monique.
Okay. So my specialty, I'm interested in a lot of things, but for this, I guess the passion that drives me, because I've had so much success with it and I've seen a lot of people really having lots of success, is emotional freedom techniques, or we call it tapping. And it's all about, tapping on meridian points on primarily that's right, the face and the upper torso. And it's just an amazing tool. So it's a modality that helps in many ways. So one of them is really for, at its most basic, stress reduction, because it really calms the nervous system down. When we are feeling really agitated, stressed out about life, overwhelmed, simply just tapping on these points, can really, calm that amygdala, or the emotional part of the brain, and send that message through our connective tissue that, you know what, I'm okay, all is well, I'm safe, because it's always about physiological and emotional safety, right? That's our body's primary concern is safety and survival. And so really, when we're in that stress mode, we are not feeling safe. There's something that feels like a threat. So tapping is such a simple way. I mean, we all have fingers. We can, they're very accessible anytime, any place. Yeah, exactly. And so that was, I think that was your question. The courses,
You've got a great course that's like included with in enrollment. So when a student enrolls with a very low price that we have for them, so when they enroll, they have access to like virtually every faculty member's agreement with IAUSM is that they will provide inclusive material, inclusive courses, so that students can immediately begin their process. And there's also deeper dive courses. Like if you really like taking something with Monique, she's got a course that will upscale it for you, right? So there's that. And I wanted to have, and I know I'm going to have I've got new teachers coming in every day. So that means lots of new content for the students, which is exciting, in all kinds of different areas. But the tapping has always even been something for me I do so many different things, but I've never really gotten into the tapping. So I know that I'll be taking those courses too.
No, that's great. So the one that you're referring to that's accessible for everybody is tapping through distressing emotions for a happier you. So it's really about examining how, we have the range of emotions that is part of our human condition, and they all serve a purpose, and they all communicate to us and get our attention that something needs to be looked at a little more closely. So that the whole purpose really is that we don't want to get stuck in those emotions, because we know when they get stuck in the body, and often this is, subconsciously we carry this heavy weight of baggage with us, but it impacts us on every single level. So if we can learn how to identify that emotion that might be very distressing or heavy duty, for instance, anger is a good example of one. Anger serves a big purpose. Anger
Yes.
lets us know that our boundaries are being maybe disrespected, or that there's an outrage or an injustice that we need to get riled up enough about to take action to actually, change, right? But the problem is when it gets internalized and stuffed down, and then it starts to wreak havoc on our whole holistic self in many different ways.
Which a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They don't talk about their anger, especially women.
Yes.
Especially women, and they don't say when they're mad, and they just no problem, and they just keep, how are you, fine, and they keep it all in there, and what kind of damage that's really doing to them.
Absolutely. And actually, you mentioned women, so EFT is for men, women, anybody with a nervous system, animals. But I actually did write a book. It's called "Is This All There Is? Living a Life Beyond Obligation," because it is specifically geared to women caregivers who, because we're socialized just to do that, it's not okay to sort of speak our truth, demonstrate our anger. It's more, those, we can express vulnerability, but when it comes to sort of really that assertive or that anger, we often do stuff it down, because we've learned that the response we get when we are angry is not always a positive one. So it's about trying to access that anger within us, and often we don't even know we carry that anger. We're walking around, and so, I mean, I thought I didn't carry anger at all until I had, something major in my life that kind of happened. And I'm like, whoa, like, it's scary, because when you're not used to dealing with it and you've stuffed it down, and all of a sudden you're experiencing that. I mean, it's a very heavy duty emotion to feel within the body. And it can be scary, not only for others when you demonstrate it, but for yourself as well. So that is one of the things we'll be tapping on. Some of those, they're tapping scripts that are going to be made available to students, so that we can actually tap together, and then they can have that as a takeaway. Another thing is perfectionism. That is something that many of us have, right? We've been conditioned that way from very early on. And it's been a survival mechanism, because to be part of the tribe, we need to be acceptable to the tribe and those people around us. And it starts early on, often within our families of origin, and teachers and other adults. And so we sort of mold ourselves to be acceptable to those people for whom we depend on. This is all subconscious. That's what I love about tapping. It helps us get to those subconscious patterns that we may not be aware of, but they're driving everything. How we show up in life, how we respond, what we do, the actions we take or we don't take. On and on, our relationships, everything. So that is the key, is when we can tap into our subconscious with a very gentle way of doing it. It's just, we get these insights that come from where, it's like, wow, we think of things we may just have forgotten, and that can be scary too. So I always say, when I talk about tapping, it's being responsible and using it. So you don't want to go where you're not prepared to be dealing with stuff that might come up. So, that's something we talk a lot about in the book, just so that if people start to tap into something that is very scary for them or overwhelming to their nervous system, because it's all about the nervous system and what can remain within their sort of their window of tolerance, what they can tolerate, then they always should seek professional help. So I am a little bit of a parrot, because I just want people to know that it is a powerful tool. It looks weird, but
you're not. I think the most exciting thing about it, I think there's something wrong with my mic. The most exciting thing about it is that, and about all the methodologies that are coming into IAUSM, is that people have the ability, like, they look to other people to heal them, right? And they say, I'm looking for a healer. I'm looking for someone to heal me, whether it's a medical doctor, they're healers, right? Or whatever. I say, but they're not the healer. You are, right? You are the healer, because if you don't let the healing happen, if you don't understand the power that's within you, no healing is going to happen. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how good the person is that's coming, that can help you, right? If you don't believe in yourself, if you don't let yourself do it, if you don't open yourself up to the possibilities of the ways that you can help yourself, then no healing, no healer is going to be able to help you on a long-term basis. You need to be the healer and allow the healing to happen.
For sure.
So every single person is a healer, in their own life. And you just got to go out there and get the right combination of, mentors and guides and facilitators and people who can give you what you need so that you can learn and expand and heal yourself, because believe it or not, we've all been given the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And it's great. And tapping is a wonderful example of that. Like, who knew just by tapping on different parts of your body that you could relieve your stress, that you could bring down your anger, that you could release things. Who knew that? Like, instead we take antidepressants, but we could sit here and tap on ourselves and get a much better reaction from ourselves.
Absolutely. And then, like anything else, making it a daily routine is really the key. We want to tone that nervous system so that when things happen, and life does happen, that we don't react as quickly as we normally would, that we can sort of stay in. It's a mindfulness practice as well. We stay in the moment. We can deal with life better, and we can kind of bounce back more quickly from adversity in our lives. So, as I said, it's priming that nervous system so that we can stay in a calm place when all hell is breaking loose, or when we have no control over or what's going on the outside, right? We still can manage ourselves inwardly.
True enough. And I just want to say, going back to anger, I used to hide from my anger because I used to have a really bad temper. And over the years, that's part of the thing that I've worked on. But, now I read a book called, it's by Gandhi's grandson, and it's called The Gift of Anger. And I love that book. I do love it. It's a quick read, but it's a great book. And it's using your anger first of all, it was great to be able to say, I am angry. Like before that, because I knew what my temper used to be like, I tried not to allow myself to get into anger. Right. And then, it's only been in the last couple of years where I can just sort of say, you know what, I am angry, but say it like this, like I am angry. This makes me mad. Like I'm actually angry about this, without losing my mind and using my anger as fuel to do something like better. So I always say, whenever I'm angry, man, can I clean the crap out of my house? It's a great time to go into closets and stuff that I haven't cleaned in a while. Boy, they look good after. So use that anger to do something really positive.
Absolutely. That's a great example. Love it.
And, for those people who have, seen pictures of Gandhi, if you've seen him, you've seen him with a spinning wheel, right? There's a lot of pictures of him on the internet and everywhere where he has a spinning wheel. And that is how he used to deal with his anger.
Oh.
He would make things. He would make cloth.
Interesting.
And considering he carried the spinning wheel with him everywhere he went, I guess things in his life made him angrier than we thought. So kind of interesting. Anyways, if you were going to give somebody a tip or a strategy right now that they could take away, or something that they could do right now.
Okay. So those of you, I'm assuming if you don't know what the tapping points are, the side of your hand, you've got a number of points right there at the fleshy part of your hand. And when you're starting to feel stressed out, or you just want to feel calmer, just do this. Do this for a couple of minutes and just start to notice what happens. Start to notice how you start to release some of that stressful energy in your body. So you might start yawning. That's a big one for me. A yawn. You might sigh. You might have some tears coming down the side of your eye, or you just might Yeah, see, I just automatically I sigh. So this is good. You don't have to forget. You can always remember to do it here. It doesn't matter what side of your hand. Another place is sort of the collarbone area where sort of those bones meet. If you go down about an inch, and you can just massage as well. So when we tap, you don't have to be banging your face. You can massage gently these points as well.
Nice.
Okay. So yeah, those are two. So when you're watching TV, when you're watching maybe like a movie that's kind of freaking you out, right? And you can start doing this, or you're having a conversation with somebody that's distressing, or you're getting on an interview with Ayse Hogan. See, Ayse Hogan.
That should not be distressing.
No, but any of these things, right? It's just very simple, and just try it and
Nice.
take it out.
Beautiful. Thank you,
Yeah.
Monique. I am so thrilled to have you as part of the faculty. You're just full of goodness. I just love
Oh, thank you.
it.
I'm thrilled to be part of this too, for sure.
Great. Well, thank you all. For all of you who want to check out IAUSM, she is down this weekend. Today is December the 18th. We're doing a big overhaul and upgrade and getting ready for 2021. So she'll be down for the weekend, but please go to IAUSM, IAUSM.com. Because why? Because you are awesome. And, we want to bring that out in you as much as we can. So thank you for joining me, Monique, and thank you for watching. And we'll see y'all soon.
Bye.